We'll let everybody pile in, then we'll go through it. Need some good trades today. Forgot to move. Oh no. Yeah, we just took in the pre-market we only took the one long. So we took this play here. I think some trailed out there. I trailed out somewhere around here. But hit the target I thought it was gonna go to. But uh it did it again on it too, Johnny. I don't know if you were on when I was showing that. I didn't look when you joined, but the remember the one I showed you, so look at we were talking about it when we were trailing it up here, and I was like, based on my predictive, we should target because that would be our critical low and high. We should hit somewhere around here, and like it put up tap. It like tapped it almost perfect, and
Yeah,
then we
it's
rejected.
almost like they engineered this shit, isn't it?
Dude, I'm telling you this. I've said this for some time, man. This is what fascinates me with trading is that it's I see it as a puzzle. You know, there is a reason why things do what they do. And like you said, you know, it's all engineered, but you got to find that kind of the keys to the you know the those who want to show your age, right? The decoder thing that you get in your cereal box, you know. I'm looking for that decoder in the cereal box. But I don't know for those who don't know, it was back way back in the day. We used to you buy cereal and you get a little package with a little like decoder looking thing. You'd open it and then you go back to the back of the cereal box and you'd be able to use that decoder to basically figure out the puzzle. It's kind of funny.
Drink more Ovaltine.
Yep. Oh yeah, baby. You know the decoder ring. Oh yeah.
You'll shoot your eye out.
Look, you ain't living if you didn't watch the commercial that said the old lady in the Wendy's commercial. You know, where's the beef? Where's the beef? This can be Friday. Show our age, right? Tell me how
I
old you
think
are
Cody
without
just made a
telling me.
Simpsons reference.
What?
I think Cody just made a Simpsons reference.
Yeah.
No, that was a Christmas story.
Oh, the shoot your eye out. Yeah, that's a Christmas story. Oh, that's like the most famous line in ever, Michael. It's like,
Wait, he had the decoder, and he was so mad because it just said drink more Ovaltine.
oh, that one. No, I thought you said. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I remember that. Like what? Um. All right, guys. Morning. Friday. You know, we've had a great week. Hopefully, some of you have continued to have that great week. We traded Asia last night. I was gonna try to go live, but I decided not to because we have a lot of new additions to the mentor group, and so uh, I really wanted to spend some time with them and just showing them some things. And we were testing out autopilot, which is awesome. And so we kind of spent that night, and the market played out pretty well. So the plan was through Asia, and they'll all keep me honest as always. When let me find where we opened. Got it. So we ended up opening like here. So not going to go into the deep of it, but right off the bat, due to a lot of things in TA, my advice was I am not taking a short. So we stayed long, and as you see, it played out pretty well. So in the pre-market, we were kind of identifying this channel that we're in. Rising channels usually can break south. So the other theory that we want to be careful with is if you take your session theory. So we were talking about that as well. When you look at it, Asia bought, then EU bought, then the second time frame I watched an EU bought, and the third one I watched bought, and then Killzone bought. Usually it leads with either a pre-market pull, which we're getting, and then an open market push, or we would get a pre-market push with an open market take profit, right? So those that were in that morning pre-market, if you notice, we're kind of getting that pre-market pull. Remember I was saying, Cody, where at 9, like 8:30 to 9, I watch it, but it doesn't mean that you know, because we're pushing up, we're going to drop on open. I want to see from that 9 to 10, which is why I don't usually trade, or 9 to 9:30. It you know, you can still get that pull. And if that pull goes deep enough and hits certain levels, the market open can flip, because usually the pre-market is not the right way. But we'll see what Neo says here. We'll see what he says. Yeah, I'll have to look at that, Kenneth, if you're on there when I'm done. So we just want to see where this pre-market goes. Again, you know, I'm going to give my same disclaimer I give all the time, which is you want to not destroy your weekend through a Friday revenge trading. So, yeah, it is so true on that, Brittany. You know, keep your volume manageable. Don't go crazy. Earn your profits when you're good. You know, you're good. You're done. You know, you don't want to overtrade. Today is not a day to overtrade. The only thing I understand.
Hey, that was the best trade of my week right there.
Which one?
This drop.
The drop?
Yeah,
Nice.
the Foundations was calling the short, and Sessions was saying that it needed a break.
Oh yeah.
What was it?
Nice.
What was it? 497. So when it hit 497, I jumped in.
Nice. Got the pull. Very cool.
So, well, yeah. I fixed the damage I did last night, and then put a little bit on top. So
nice. Yeah, I don't typically like to trade after 9, but it's cool to see that all play out, because this kind of proves the point. So I love that you brought that up too. Not only so, kind of what I talk about is indicators are great, but they're not great usually alone. But when you get confluence, so I have a trap and block showing south. I have this showing short. You got Neo Sessions that he's talking about, which would be here, and which one was it? Probably up here. Yeah, right here. Actionable when we break and hold below
capture the move.
497, and the target's 470, which we're about to hit. So now you got trap and block going short. You got the foundations short. You got AI telling you short. Yeah, that was a good read.
yeah, it was. I mean, you'd have to be. Yeah, it was screaming at me.
You're like, free money. That's all you heard. Free money.
Yeah. Eternal glory.
My stupid rules that said I can't trade after 9. You know what? I'm breaking all my rules because of you. My FOMO is kicking in, John. No. Yeah, no, awesome.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good. No, honestly, I love that you shared that, right? Because it proves what I keep saying, right? That there's really not a lot of indicators you can take solely what it says, right? But I love that we had that lineup, AI lineup, and then the trade setup lineup, and it hit all the way to TP. I mean, it's a great setup. I didn't even have them on, or probably still wouldn't have took it, but I still love to see that it played out, right? Because it gives you that confidence. So, pretty sure I messed up my line, but so this one's interesting because it's a little subjective right there, but we're breaking it, so could be interesting, guys. We might get that deep pullback to all the way down to that 370 you're talking about, Johnny. The I was for me, I would probably suspect that we would pull to maybe 430. If we hit 430 and we break that, then yeah, it's gonna be a deep drop. But let's look at let's go to the other chart briefly. Let's mute these. All right, so if we go to our 1 hour, like that, nothing really has changed for the most part. We're just in that range. But we have a breakout, retest, push, failed to create the high and hold it. We had a drop from it. My suspicion was this could create a 1 to 3-tier drop. I don't know that I think that's viable much anymore on it, because we wouldn't have came as high as we did up if it was. If we take here and we use our fun little handy dandy ruler, our 50% is right there. So you can see now it's at the prior lows right here, almost exactly actually. And so a pullback to that, which would be around 440, if it bounces from there, it's going to be really, really bullish, and we'll see a lot of upside. If we reject from that and we get a good clean close, we're likely going to get a lower low, so, or at least an equal, so it'll be a pretty decent downside. Yeah, we'll see. We'll lean on old Neo, see what Neo's got to say. My thing about it, I talked about last night. We have a clear bullish move. We got an absorption here, which led it to a push. You guys know, those in the mentor group who've been around for a little bit, you've heard me talk about the structure. So usually when you create a high, pulls, it's got to create another high. As long as it stays above halfway, which it did, then it's still in play. We finally created the high, tried to hold it, couldn't get the expansion, we lost it, creating that drop. When it can't create a expansion and hold, usually that's going to come create a lower low. I would have gauged it off of there, but the fact that we got that lower low and couldn't reclaim the 50 back created another lower low. Kind of in a similar situation, right? So, but one thing I know about these kind of structures, and it doesn't mean that we can't pull a little farther back, but when you have these kind of structural failures, there's usually one little hoorah, you know, north on it. And so I'm curious to see if we're still going to get the little hoorah. Now, mind you, we're in the 1 hour, right? So it could take a while, you know, could be into next week before you get that. Who knows on it. But structure-wise, that usually is what happens. Now, what I would like to see, though, come open is I don't want to see us staying too low below these lows. So like that 440, you know, so if we do sweep into a 50 here and then we hit it and reject, then we're going to want to play the shorts on the downside. If we reject, hit this 50 and then reclaim, then you're going to want to play the longs only on the upside. So just kind of be ready. It's a tricky spot, I'm not going to lie, because if you think about it, where we are, this is our trend line that we broke that we know has the potential to pull all the way back. There was a level here Neo called apparently at some point, because I still have it there. Oh no, that was the I know what that was. But if you think about where we are, if you take the high down to kind of what that low potential would be of the trend line, notice how we're lining up right at that 50. So it's kind of like at a critical spot where if you think of it like predictive, kind of what we were just talking about, that would almost be like a predictive target if it can stay below here. That would be your predictive. The inverse of it, if it stays above here, right, then it's going to pull back up, and then you would have to take the opposite. You'd pull it to something like here probably, which would give you that all the way up there. But we'll see where it goes, all right? We'll see how open does. Pre-market pulled. I expected pre-market to pull. I'm curious to see if US just comes in and dumps it. We'll lean on old Neo and see what he's got to say. So we got 920.
Hello, I'm Neo. Let's capture the move.
No, Neo. We're going to go to the upgraded Neo. Okay, we are getting closer to US Open. Can you give me the newer levels that I should be watching around this area so we can prepare for the Open?
US Open volatility is about to turn into a mosh pit, so keep your seatbelt fastened. For the upside, price needs to reclaim and hold the 29,470.25 ORB high before testing the 29,508.00 trend line. On the downside, the 29,449.00 active leg low and 29,410.75 reaction low are your immediate pivots. If those fail, the 29,298.68 to 29,305.98 institutional reaction zone is the major downside liquidity magnet. Don't chase the open. Wait for structure to actually pick a side.
Jeez, that's way down there. Now, when he says institutional zones, though, guys, I want to put it there because they are still viable. But when the market opens, we will we'll get the newer data to see if we need to adjust it. But that's where it was as of now. He didn't really give us much above. He just said 508. Interesting. So we'll put that one here. Very interesting. Well, Johnny, Neo agrees with you. Yeah, always interesting when he doesn't give me much above.
If we get down there, then that'll give them the fuel to push it all the way back up again.
Yeah. So let's assess that briefly. Yeah, that would man, that would be a deep. That'd be a deep ass pull from the pivot. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm away from the computer at the moment, but the POC is
328.
further down than that. So
Yeah. So 370 would be a 50% hold. That's where normally I would expect maybe to 410, 370. If it hits here, reclaims that, it will jump. If we lose 370, likely going to bounce at 330. We have a lot of support in here. So I bet you it doesn't quite make it all the way there if it does pull. So I have my own bias for today mostly. I'm not really big on taking shorts where we are. I have no FOMO. I'll let that sucker come all the way down and then I'll take the long. But that's my plan. The reason is quickly while we wait for a little closer to market. We structure wise, I know there's good chance that there might be a little hoorah push north, but as long as I stay above kind of 242 for the most part, I'm not really super interested in the shorts. But I will tell you, just because I'm not interested in taking it doesn't mean it's not possible, because you could see we have a deep low and we're kind of respecting what would be, kind of remember what I was saying earlier, guys, that potential channel of the low. So if we respect that channel of the low, in theory, we could pull all the way down into here. But we'll have to see how open treats this, guys. But anything that's above this area here, I always ask you guys, I love to ask the why. If we were so bearish and we got extension and we got a lower close on a higher time frame below a level we needed to close below to really dump us, we lost this high, we lost it and then swept it. Like if we were going to dump, like that was the time to do it. If you take the overall whole structure, you can tell, remember we talked about the 50 is 28,779. That would be a retest of the neckline of the inverse head and shoulders that push us up. So that's also possible. If we take the fib just to kind of see where we're at, and you measure up with the high, we didn't even quite get to the 382. So if we line it up with this leg, not this one, then it's a perfect retest of the 382. So with that theory, if we can reclaim the 236, so anytime you drop through, if it is holding that is the 382, reclaim of the 236 would jump us a lot. So that is going to be around 634. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. I might just lock it, and then we can keep that as a baseline to watch. See, the other one that we did this high, so we're coming into the 382, that 410. So let's see if we get the pre-market pull with the big push there. Yeah, it's it broke the channel we were watching. Got the push, failed extension from within. But we also talked about when Asia buys and US or EU buys, usually US sells, but usually that sell, what I don't trust about us being really bearish today, hey Jody, is usually it ends up a Asia EU buy, kill zone buy, pre-market buy, or consolidate, then US dumps on open. We're not seeing the US open dump, we're seeing all that buy and a pre-market dump, which more times than not you get a pre-market dump and ends up with a market open pump, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes, guys. Welcome those that are joining. Couple things quickly. The screen that you're looking at here, this is Neo. If you are new to watching on TikTok, he's the AI that our company created, nextstepalgo.com. He is awesome. He's called our market open or guided us, through it for last quite a while. What I like to do in this open session is I'm going to utilize Neo to show you how to talk to him, how to use him, what he can do, all that. How to interpret what he's saying, because what he says and how he says it actually matters. He's actually he's true AI. So sometimes he's extremely confident about things, sometimes he will not be, and that matters, right? So we will use him to identify some levels, movements. You guys will kind of hear us talk to him. It's Friday. Keep your volume low. Don't destroy your entire week on a Friday. So move. But we already got our levels marked out. They've kind of already changed a little. Look at that push right at the 382. They've mostly changed a little because of the fact that we are so out of range here. But let's ask them a little sooner because I want to get new levels if we have them. See that fake out, Telly? All right, we have market open coming in here in about a minute or so. Where would you send price to wreck the most retail traders on US Open based on the data that you have? Let's go see what we got. But yeah, look at that bounce, man.
The US Open is a retail trap factory, so try not to be the product. The classic pain path here is a quick squeeze into the 29,470.25 ORB high to choke out the shorts, followed by an immediate dump to trap the FOMO longs.
Interesting.
I'd watch for rejection at that resistance to bet on the reversal. If it just blasts through, the shorts are toast and the bulls are the new bag holders.
Okay. Interpret that as it is, guys. So he didn't give us any levels other than 470. He hasn't done that before. I don't think ever, actually. Interesting. So he was saying the trap would be the push through the 470, which we just did, and then the sweep back down, which would be the short squeeze, right? Conversely, he said that staying above 470 shows that the bulls are in control. So the fact he gave us one level, he's never done that. Use 470 as your kind of line in the sand right there. And then once 431 hits, we'll get the new data. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, we got the initial pull. Let's see if it reclaims that 470. Like he was kind of aiming for. So we did get the trap and block. We do have the V. With the V of this, you guys know how to play that. It tends to be further down, but it's market open, so you got to see where this closed. Because if we reclaim that 470, probably going to jump really hard. If we stay below that, right, we'll get that deeper pull. So I'm watching the 382, which is 410, and the 370. Those are the two levels I think that will be potential bounce areas, so be careful. We're kind of testing that low right now. Now that you have the institutional data, can you give me the updated levels? Let's see. So you know when we have the V, watch the 50. If it cannot break that 50 on this
The
next pull, it's going
institutional
to dump
data just
right
confirms
about
that
here.
the bulls are fighting a losing battle here. You've got a wall of resistance at 29,459.58 and the pivot at 29,469.58 acting as overhead magnets. If price can't reclaim those, shorts are still the main event. If the bears keep the momentum, 29,189.58 is the next major gamma support zone to watch for a reaction. Don't bet on a bounce until structure actually gives you a reason.
Okay, so 189. Whew, good lord, what? That's crazy. Interesting. All right. Yeah, he didn't give us much above, guys. Only the one down below. So let's see where we pull through. So this green line here is going to be our 0.5. If we tap this, reclaim the orange one, it's going to jump hard. See the V playing out on the short pretty well so far. So I want to see, where did the buyers come in at all here? Do we get any kind of push from it? As we let the market open, kind of settle here, what would be our line in the sand? Stay long, stay short bias. So we're testing the 0.5. So this is big. If it reclaims this 382, it'll jump pretty hard. But if we lose that, it's going to drop to these lower levels.
The line in the sand is 29,389.58. Think of it like a bouncer at a club nobody actually wants to be in. If price holds above it, sellers might take a breather, but if it breaks, the exit door is wide open. Resistance looms at 29,417.05, and with sellers driving this bus on a 14% buy fraction, the short side is the only one not currently hallucinating.
So we're kind of trying to reclaim that 0.5. So if we can get above 389, then we're going to test the fib here. If we get above the fib, then we will push. Anything below that is going to try to pull there. Let's see. That's 410. I kind of want to see if we can hold this and get a close above that. I would expect they would try to at least push it to there, and then if it doesn't like that, it'll sweep it back down. It's kind of what I'm looking at. Yeah, we hit that target you said, Johnny, on that one. That worked out good.
Yeah, mate.
Nice. Love it. The screen line's that 50, guys. That's what I'm watching. 389 is his line in the sand. So if we reclaim it, we'll get a good jump. We don't, we'll get a good pull. The only thing I think, I always get intrigued on this kind of stuff, right? Because the U.S. expectation of a drop on open based on all the sessions buying is normal because people are taking profit, right? But once the profit taking finishes, people will still, they're going to take their positions, right? So now it's kind of a case of, are we, in a take profit series that's going to flip on us, or is this a, kind of a true blue, we're going to dump down. So we got to see, it's just got to clear critical levels before we'll know. Let's see, 70.
318. I've got for the POC.
Yeah. Looking at... So this is big. Remember you guys, the mentor group, I was kind of teaching that where when you get this, we had the V, the push, the extension. We pulled, we tried to hold the 50 as support. Now it's going to test it. If it rejects and we close below there, it's going to come pretty hard. But the distance this is, if this can push up here and hold it as support, then it's going to jump really hard, right? Because then it's stop hunt. And so let's watch. So we're testing the 618 right now. Let's see if we get any kind of bounce from this 618. Do you show institutions buying or selling right now? Just kind of want to see what they're doing.
The institutions are playing pretend with positive flow, but the actual volume on the tape is screaming sell with a pathetic 14% buy fraction. It's like the big money is trying to hold up a burning building while everyone else is already out the door. Don't fall for the institutional buy signal when the tape is literally bleeding out. Wait for price structure to actually hold before you try to play hero.
Got it. What would be a long and short setup? What do we need to see? Let's see what he says. Yeah, they're still bleeding it, guys.
The market is currently puking inside this order block, so pick your poison carefully. For a long, I need price to reclaim and hold above 29,348.25. If that confirms, 29,389.46 is the first target, with a failed hold below 29,340.00 as the warning and a loss of 29,332.00 invalidating the setup. If you're feeling bearish, the short confirms only if price breaks and holds below 29,340.00, targeting 29,259.58. Using a reclaim of 29,348.25 as the first warning and 29,369.25 as the structural invalidation.
Okay, so close back above 48. He has a long to 89. The short, he doesn't like it unless we hold below on a rejection of 340, which is kind of what it's trying to do. So rejection close below would be your expansion to that one. Targeting 259, which is way down there. We'll see. Getting a little trap vibes, but I want to see for this to be a US classic take profit pull. We got to reclaim that 348. Whoa, somebody's going through a wind tunnel. Got you. So we're getting some buyer jumps coming in, but again, we got to reclaim the 48 before it goes back up. Being open, they like to set traps at times, so us pushing through a 50% fib hold, if we reclaim that, it's going to move up pretty hard. So right now we're just testing to see. I'm not really interested usually in taking deeper extensions. From here, I want to see where's the bottom right. Either it's going to trap move and we reclaim it and I'm going to be long once we get above here. Or we're going to sweep down into this area, and then when that does that, I'll look for the potential reclaim of that. So let's look and see how deep this thing wants to go. Kind of like a little stall out, guys. Wonder why it's... Yeah, that's why. See, we got prior low here. That's why it's trying to hold.
There we go.
Yep. So me, I'm not short. I wouldn't short this, but
Yeah, I'd be looking long for now. We've tapped on the POC.
Well, and this
So now
that teal line's the 618 of the larger structure fib, and we tried to lose it, and we're reclaiming it. So usually, if you hit 618, you reclaim 0.5. It's going to jump to 382. If it reclaims 382, it's going to jump for a higher high. And so that's why I'm looking to see how. Now, to judge if this is truly holding that, we want to reclaim these lows, which is just pretty much that 0.5, ideally. But Neo is looking at it more institutionally. He's saying if we get a good close and hold above 48, 89 is his target on that. Okay, so we got a little rear back. That's normal for volatility. So we have this to this. A rear back push, close above would give the extension if we're going to have a bottom here. But again, this is our prior low area. So for us to get deep pull, we want to reclaim that. But as of right now, it's behaving like it is wanting to. See the tap 1, 2, 3 perfectly. Now you just need the close to confirm it, and then you'll get volume. Okay. There's Neo's break and the tap. I'm just curious. No, it actually threw a short and open in foundations too. That's cool. It's trailing it right here. What I was looking at more so is the 1 minute close, because we do these ghost candles. I want to see if we get that 1 minute close above it, because that's what Neo was saying. So 45 seconds. Haven't quite got the close. We did get a doji, which a close above that would support the bigger push. A close below that would support the rejection. So, but we got 30 seconds. It's got to close above that blue line on this candle here. But little battle. It's also rejecting on these highs, or these prior lows. You can see that. So now we're chopping. Close below there, drop, close above there, pump. So you got 15 seconds, and then that will close above the blue line here. Oh, I don't know if I got it actually. Let's see. Man, barely, but it almost kind of missed it too. Interesting sweep. Yeah, it barely is on that line, on that little drop. Kind of pulled it back. This is an interesting play right here, guys. Because see this, the prior high, that to me supports a range and a pull, but to do a sweep like that, shouldn't have done that. But if it sweeps a low and we reclaim the 50, the prior low and the prior high, that would, now it's stop hunt and that thing's going to go crazy. But the fact that it just dropped like that, it really shouldn't have done that unless they're setting up a trap stop hunt. So let's see if it gets any kind of quick reclaim. If not, next level is 273. So now I'm just trying to determine, is that a stop hunt or not, but it would have reclaimed a little sooner than it is right now if it was. Let's see. We attempted to hold above that 348 and they hard rejected it. Do you think this might be a little trap or stop hunt before they send it back up? Let's see what Neo thinks. See, we're rejecting on the 618 now. If we close through there, it'll give expansion.
That rejection at the 29340, 29348 block isn't a grand conspiracy. It's just sellers actually doing their jobs. If it were a real stop hunt before a blast off, you'd see buyers already reclaiming that zone with conviction, not struggling with a 29% buy fraction. I'd stop hunting for ghosts and wait for a clean reclaim of 29,348.25 before you play hero, because right now, the bears are still the ones driving this bus.
There's a stop on it. Look at. See the quick little pull? Oh, we have news too. That's why. PMI, I think it was.
Order filled.
That's funny. Apparently that's damn it, Bobby. You guys know what that was. What's funny is I thought I broke him, but now that I think about it, I didn't break him. He I think I had my setting not to go until 9 or 9:30, I mean. See how I drew this kind of predictive parallel? The people that I mentor know I love to predict stuff like that, parallels. And so when I see these certain angles, it just stands out to me a bit. So now we're in an interesting spot, guys, because we have a push that should have pushed us more, that swept. It's where I was kind of leaning towards possible stop hunt, but it didn't really act like it there. But then it pushed, pulled, pushed. That's more stop hunt. So now we want to watch how that behaves from here. We take the high and the low. As long as we hold above that 329, which we just tapped and absorbed, if we get a close above there, you're going to get your real big move. And it truly was a stop hunt, which is why I was kind of going with I'm not trusting or shorting that, at least. But it's still got a little hurdles to get through, you know, before I would say that we're in the clear, but not too bad. So let's see. Right now it's got the behaviors that should give expansion. What's up? Oh, I heard the hot mic. What bot is this? Don't call him a bot. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, let me block the old confirm signals. Guys, never go with anything that says join my Telegram. Instant scam. This is Neo. He is our company's AI. You can also talk to him if you like. Nextstepalgo.com. You go to TradeVision. We do a 3-day free trial, but yeah, he's our AI that we created. So we just talked to him. He's got his own data feed, settings, all that. Guys, so we're rejecting on the channel that should have pushed us. So it's a little bit of an interesting shakeout they got going on here. Interesting little shakeout. So we're trying to still respect that channel. So what I want to watch, what I'm looking for here, is do we do something like this? Hold the high of the low of the channel, push, hold, push. That would create a deeper push. If it doesn't do that behavior, we could do this where it pulls, taps, pushes again, holds, and then goes up. If it's going to break if it's respecting this channel. Right now it's interesting because we have a big volume down, big volume up. That tells me buyers and sellers are willing to fight here. You can notice right now the sellers are kind of winning because we just went up and tapped our 50 and we're pulling. All right, so it looks like it wants to try to respect that. What I'm finding interesting about it, what I don't really love about it, is a lot of times when you get these sweeps, and if that's going to be a stop hunt, we shouldn't revisit it, right? But let's see how this reacts here, because we know that this is where the buyers kicked in last time. If they can't kick in again, they're going to lose it, and it's going to pull. So we do have quite the battle going on here. This seems to be an area that the buyers want to step in and try to defend, though. Interesting. So here's a big candle, guys, because a higher low from channel that pushes through the 50 will give expansion. So this would be your 50 that it's testing right now.
Watching the buyers defend here is cute, but with price parked well below VWAP and the 1-minute Lisma acting like a ceiling, it's more like they're just holding the door open for the bears. Unless they can actually reclaim and hold above the 29,340.75 level, this is just a bear-friendly bounce getting ready to reload.
Now he's calling
it 40. If that 29,312.25 low gives out, don't expect the institutional flow to save you. 29,259.58 is the next liquidity destination.
Interesting. If we ignore the sweep wick, see that lines up really good with there. Almost kind of putting it somewhat into a little bit of a wedge. Same thesis, but so we got the pull. Here's our 50. We broke it. We're holding the 50. Now we need the close above. Remember, you always want to anticipate. You want to study. Oh, appreciate it. what you always want to study is the condition of it. If it's doing certain things to be bearish, it should do certain things, right? But so right now, again, when it does the setup, it's not confirmed till it's confirmed. And so what I would want to see for this to jump to be a breakout of a potential wedge, I want to see this do that, but I need to see it push, hold a 50 of it, push, hold a 50 of it, push, close above, and then that would give you the expansion. So we need that close above, otherwise we're just still ranging, right? And so we didn't get that. So here's our sweep. Let's see if it's going to respect. I'm going to put this back to where it was, which is right there. Let's see if it respects it. So it's still channeling, but we have not gotten the respect of the halfway to suggest that it's going to push. 259 was that low. This is the next fib, which was 274. So let's just keep watching how this thing behaves. Are we going to respect the channel, or are we going to hit that 259 that he called earlier? So notice his conviction was that he keeps saying, he wanted to reclaim the 240. So for that long. So again, when I'm studying this, guys, I'm just studying to identify traps, bottom potentials. US loves to set traps, guys. So let's see if we respect that bottom at all. And we oscillate back, or do we just sweep to the 259? But you can hear Neo. He has been mostly pretty dang bearish. So all right, nice little sweep. Let's see if we get the push.
So we're all clear to push up now. We've swept Asia low and we've swept the value area low as well. So POC sitting at 317. So that'll be ceiling at the moment, or pseudo ceiling.
Yeah.
And then you got that 350, which is the one I called out before. That's the 50% of the IB.
And if you take
get above there, we're good to go.
Yeah. So, if you take this 50 here, it lines up almost perfect with that bottom there. So we need to clear that to jump. For sure.
Yeah, re-sweeping it now. So previous day low is 29,205. Actually slightly lower, 202.
So we hit that 259 that he called, and you guys know Neo, man. Once we hit a level that he calls for a target, it usually goes pretty inverse. So let's see if this inverse is on it. Oh, we hit the 259. I know, Alton, you probably took it all the way down. We usually get a deep inverse from this guy, so that's what I'm watching. I know some of you are in this long trailing it. I am.
Order filled.
Neo over there. Yeah, isn't that wild? Like Alton, isn't it nuts, man? I know you love to do that where when Neo calls a target, Alton's so good, and some of you are where you take it to target. But sometimes I didn't take the short to target. I waited until we got the hit here, and then the moment it started to bounce, I started trailing it the other way. Because it's so wild how many times that does that, man. It hits target and then just jumps. So we are here. There's our 50. So for us to get any kind of deep lit, kind of violent move north, remember 240 was kind of like our prior low area. It was somewhere in there. So any kind of hold above that, if it reclaims these lows and levels, it's going to jump, right? So the parallel thesis died, but we got the sweep on there. This bouncing is trying to create a higher low from higher time frame back this way, right? And so any kind of higher low would still have that potential of really jumping. So let's watch. So we have a first push, 50% hold with volume. That's what we want to see. I want to see a reclaim of the low. Also, you guys can see we kind of had that chop with our little rate of liquidity. If we reclaim the low and the high, it's going to jump really far. So let's ask them. We hit that short target of 259. Great job on that. Now that we're bouncing right off of that, is it still 340.75 that we would want to clear to take the long?
Nice call on the short target. That drop was cleaner than a stock market crash on a Friday afternoon. For the long, don't get too excited about 340.75. The real party pooper is the institutional pivot and gamma resistance sitting right at 29,348.33. I would treat that entire area as the actual confirmation gate, not just the level you mentioned. The long setup only becomes worth considering if price can reclaim and hold above 29,348.33 with a 1-minute candle body close. If that confirms, the first meaningful upside target is the 29,386.26 institutional wall. If the bounce fails and price loses the recent reaction low, the short side remains the one calling the shots.
Okay, so we're testing the 50 now, guys, right? Push, 50, push. Now it's kind of the overall 50 of that push. So we got a clean rejection off the prior lows. Now it's going to see, is it going to form any kind of higher low structure to try to squeeze that? Otherwise, we'll get some further pull. Little further pull. So he doesn't like longs until we get above 348. That 259 was a pretty good level. 189 is what he called earlier, so we could get all the way to that. Let's look and see. So we just got a reclaim of our fib. I think that's the 736. So this is a big moment here, guys. So we pushed, held strength, got the expansion, rejected on the low, which is normal. Lost our 50, but we're tapping on a higher time frame fib. If this can push and reclaim 298, it will push us back up into that area there. So we're just trying to identify, is there any strength with what we're doing right now? A little strength. Oh, we got the old trap and block. Oh shit, I already know everybody's 20 NQ long. I love when trap and block gives confluence because I jump when it trailed me out on this one and then I jump back in on the retest from here. I love when I get that and then I see trap and block, guys. So let's see. So now we're getting a little confluence. I don't know what Trade Foundation thing's doing. Let's see. Oh, this quadruple confluence. Interesting. It's gonna get trailed out though right now, but interesting. It's getting that little halfway pull, guys. It's struggling because of these lows. So the way that this structure is, it's trying to form some kind of higher lows within, but it's still got to break these levels and then preferably the highs, but it's still looking like it wants to. So now we got a trap and block with the sell block, but I don't trust the sell blocks as much as I trust that trap and block. Interesting. Still testing it, guys.
See, it's strong at the moment.
Well, and if you look at it, you guys know I always love the Y, right? We're in a area that should be rejecting us hard, and we are getting dojis. Not as much absorption, but I'd love to see, you know, when we have a longer period of time that we're just absorbing into what should be resistance, that doesn't usually scream we about to floor. All right, so just be careful on your shorts from here, guys. A pretty decent little trend angle here. So, but I would really want to see it reclaim this. I mean, Neo wants it above 348. So where this becomes very big north, I think, would, just from the way I study and teach it, would be a reclaim of the 618, right? Get above Neo's level, a reclaim of the 0.5. Then once you reclaim the 382, that is just massive as far as push, right? That's the progression you'd want, but we're still rejecting in areas that we should be rejecting, right? So it's a little tricky, but let's see if our trap and block holds. Looks like it might have validated. Interesting. But watch the fib level here, guys. So 259 in this fib level. If we continue to create higher lows with jumps, then it'll go. But if we lose that again, it's going to be a deep sweep. Because, see, we're rejecting heavily on that low there. But interesting. Remember, 348 is kind of where he said the bulls will take control. So until then, it's a battle. For this to continue through with some strength, it's definitely coming deeper than I would have wanted it. We know 382 is here, plus the 189. So let's see if the buyers come in again. So measure that ruler, top half to bottom half. And so that's kind of our 50. So the 292. So as we push up, if we hit 292 and absorb south, it's going to drop hard. But if we sweep through this, then that is a higher low double tap on probably a little higher time frame, and it's going to shoot hard north. So watch how the price acts around that 295, and you'll be able to tell. We got a deep push into it, but did not break in the expansion of it yet. See how it's reacting? 294, perfect rejection off of it. So now when we reject, we can do a little micro move watch, which would be that high to there. If we keep tap, hold, close above, expansion. But if we tap, hold, close below here, we'll likely get expansion down. So let's see. See the push attempt? This attempt's going to go deep. It's going to try. Yeah, I'm trailing it too. That's what I'm watching. Again, guys, the Neo wants it above the 48. The scalpers and the mentoring that I do, you know, they know what to look for on that. We got the push, the pull, the doji. We lost a fib level, reclaimed the fib level, got a close above, and so that's where most were likely in. So I'm up pretty good on this one. So I'm just watching it closely because this is a make or break spot, right? Because what we're looking at progression wise is we could be forming a early onset inverse head and shoulder, which would validate if we push back up to the 448, which we usually do when Neo puts those levels. I know this is the 618. When we reclaim the 618, it will likely hit there and pull. If you take my predictive, if we do take that that break, that puts our rejection point somewhere up here, which is funny how that lines up perfectly with the 0.5. So I'll probably look to take a little profit as it pushes into there. But yeah, so far so good, guys. We'll take it. But we're hitting a little resistance on the 618 here, which is expected. So now we want to measure how is that pulling. So if we kind of fib out that pivot, if it taps 236, gets a close above, that's strength, and it's going to move really far. If we lose 2386, hit the 382 and reclaim it, it'll move, right? Anything like that. So we're just measuring the pull, reclaim, where it goes. The strongest show of movement in this structure would be the pull to the 236, close above, and that thing's going to just jump. Now, if you look at it, one important factor as well is we want to see on this pull, does it start to respect these lows as support? See how we had that pull? If it does, then we know we are flipping the script, right, from bearish to bullish. So we got the 382, we broke that. We're getting a little trap block. So now we just want to watch and see how deep does this thing go. Because we got the 0.5. It's normal for a pivot to pull all the way to the 0.5. We're just measuring strength, right? So let's see if we get any kind of deeper bounce here, guys. We did get a trap block that pulled. Morning. Oh, dude, isn't it so good? Yeah, I'm more suspecting they're gonna send it back up than down, but we just still want to watch the behaviors. I've been taking more scalps from within here, but I do have one long that I still have from my the way I'm playing it laddering, like defensively anyways. Like I was teaching last night. So we lost the 382, but notice how we're not touching the 0.5. A reclaim of the 236 would jump us pretty freaking hard because that couldn't even get to the 0.5, right? Still shows some strength. We did get lower than I've wanted there, but we are holding support on the prior lower low of it, which is good. So see the show of strength? Like clockwork. Now it's going to test again. When you get a push, rear back push, it's got to create expansion or it's going to be deep inverse. So let's watch for the expansion. The 382 again. Let's ask Neo. Now the bulls are trying to come in a little bit. Do you still have the 348.5 as a long entry if we clear above that, or do you see any opportunities for a better entry? Let's see what he says.
The bulls are trying, but they're currently wrestling with wet cement. 29,348.50 is still overhead resistance, so that's a level to break, not an entry. A better look is waiting for a pullback to the 29,299.50 midpoint. If buyers defend there, that's cleaner than chasing. The long confirms on a 1-minute close above 29,348.50. Losing 29,299.50 is the warning. Structural failure is below 29,263.
Let's see if we get that continued hold on the 382, guys. This is what I'm watching. So remember, we want 382 to hold, but 236 to break, and there it goes. Okay. It's going to have to create
The
some. What's up?
bottom of the IP is like a pseudo ceiling at the moment. So the tap. So hopefully we can get through it. But then we've got to get over 350. So once we get over that, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, and even if you look at it structure-wise, right, we had a push, a pull, kind of a double bottom of sort right here. Pushing, and so if we stay above 320, that's going to just validate that anyways, which also it's kind of it's validating our potential shoulder. So those you guys remember, I'll give a little extra fun for open session, but in the mentor session, I teach people don't stop looking at things like this is an inverse head and shoulder. I will say it because I want you guys to do the visual, but what creates the inverse head and shoulder to play out? Most people will wait for a shoulder to come up or pull like that to create that perfect, Googleable thing. To make this valid, all an inverse head and shoulder is, guys, is we have a consolidation. We get the drop, and if you take the high to that low, oh, shocking, the the midpoint is right there. Then when it comes through here, you get that double bottom push. This is still a valid inverse head and shoulder of sort as long as we stay above that 50, right? Now we can sweep it, but if we sweep it and reclaim it, that's still your shoulder, even if it's a little lower, right? And so that's why I'm kind of watching to see how this is going to behave. Now he said, remember, he said you would want to wait for a pullback into the 299 with buyer conviction. And so that's kind of what I'm watching to see if we get that pullback with the buyer conviction here. And so getting a little bit of a deeper pull than I would have wanted for it, but let's see. Yeah, because for this to play deeper, we'd wanted it to hold that. So if we sweep it and reclaim it, that's fine. But we'd want to have it at least reclaim that. So let's see. This also sets up something interesting because now we have that consolidation. We pull, if we now reclaim that low and that high, that would give a deeper play. But yeah, it's collapsing a little further than it should. So I want to see buyers come in or it's gonna pull pretty deep here. But that's a perfect retest on the fib, so it's kind of where the buyers would need to really kick it in or they're gonna lose it. But we did lose the potential of the shoulder to show the strength for the push, for sure. Let's see if it's very minute, right? But if any buyer support comes in, it's still higher low. But it shouldn't have really dropped this, no, not anymore. It shouldn't have dropped this low in the first place. That's what I'm watching. Not if it was going to have a lot of convection north. So let's see if it does a little sweep. Buyers come in on our 259 Neo level. We know that if we lose, if you think about it, that's the 618 rejection is what that was. And then 382 is all the way down to 195. So we want to see buyers got to come in pretty hard here soon or they're going to lose it. So for the buyers to take over, they got to clear at least here, 290. Otherwise, we're going to try to pull down to there. Let's look and see. I mean, it's rejection off 618 to create a lower low is not shocking, but definitely came deeper than I thought it would. So let's see if it's a trap and I send it back or it's going to be extension. So if this wants to create extension, it really should not reclaim 274. So if we can reclaim 274, hold that, then it would be a lower low trap, just bring it back up. From the structure rules, you guys know that I teach, you have the highs held the 50, we lost it, created lower low, should have done that. Then it's going to come back up and try again. As long as it can clear that 50, it will push hard for a higher high. But if we lose and we can't even reclaim that, which would be right about there, 287 now, it's kind of a deeper extension south. But let's see if we get any kind of oscillatory push through. I want to see it reclaim this fib here. Right now it's trying to reject. Yeah, getting a good rejection off of it. We're getting some DOM pressure north. Let's watch it. The bears came in and smacked the bulls down. Crushed all their hopes and dreams.
Order filled. The bulls
What?
didn't just get smacked.
You guys
They
all know
got
what that
evicted
is.
from the building. With price now testing the bearish OB range at 29,268.00 to 29,275.50, the bears clearly have the mic. I wouldn't chase the drop this late, but a 1-minute bearish close below 29,263.00 would confirm the short toward the 29,200.28 institutional reaction zone. If price reclaims 29,275.50, the bears might need to check their ego.
Yeah, the when you're looking at that, you know, it's not a bad idea. Just, you know, if you take the pivot, high, low, there's your 50, 290, right? So you're probably likely playing it more from the prior low, right? Push, hit the low, and then get extension, which not a bad play. The only way I would caution it would be is if we break 290, hit your 300, hold 290, and close above, then it's going to extend north. But it's finding some interesting support here, but it's not able to clear things that it should be clearing if we're going to be going north, right? And so it's still set up to give expansion to the south. I'm just watching. Part of what I do, guys, those who have not traded with me, I'm always going to be teaching predictive, right? And so just because I'm looking for a top, looking for a bottom, I'm just teaching kind of openly, speaking out loud about how I read the market. What am I looking at? What am I looking for, right? And so if I wanted this to drop to here, I needed a close below there. We got it. Well, if we got it, why is it not dropping? Right? Why are we absorbing into it? That's the why that I love to ask. Now, it doesn't mean we can't still drop. It's not done until it breaks a pivot 50. So it could dance in here all at once and then still drop, right? But if it reclaims this and it holds it, it's going to have an inverse and it's going to go up. And so that's kind of what I'm watching, because getting these closes here should give the expansion down to the next level, which would be that 195. And so let's see if it gets the full expansion, or do we trap and pull?
Hey, that was Sessions, Neo Sessions TP down there, 238.
Yeah, Neo autopilot's in the short right now. He's up like,
yeah, he called it from a breakdown at 312.
Nice. Yeah, autopilot's in a short up like 40 bucks. He that was what, if you guys hear order filled, it's not me. It's Neo autopilot executing orders I'm watching. I have him on aggressive, so he is definitely aggressive. So let's look and see. Interesting. So see how the expansion, I want to see, so this right here, the way it's creating the expansion should pull to here. And if it doesn't pull all the way to here, and at any point we come up and reclaim, you know, then that's the trap, right? But it's doing what it should be doing right now, as of right now. I'm looking for the anomaly here. Yeah, the bears are pressuring down. How would we look at this to see if it's a bear trap? What would I want to see the price do? So with Neo, again, you guys can ask him questions as well.
The bears are definitely trying to turn this into a one-way street, but a bear trap is just the market baiting them into an alleyway mugging. Watch the 29,190.28 gamma support. If price sweeps below that and then immediately reclaims and holds above it with a 1-minute candle body close, you've got your trap. If it just breaks 29,190.28 and stares blankly at you, that's not a trap. That's just the bears winning, so don't be a hero.
That makes sense. If we decide to have the bulls kick in here soon, what would they need to reclaim that would also show that they're going to take over and this little pull down was the trap? So again, if you have questions on it, you just ask them, guys. But let's see. So this is so far doing what it's supposed to do, but I'm watching
For
to
the bulls
see.
to actually throw their weight around and stop this downtrend from being a complete disaster, they need to do more than just show up. First, they have to reclaim and hold above 29,263.00, which is the recent structural low. If they can stick that landing, they still have to plow through the 29,305.00 to 29,328.00 bearish order block. Only after they hold above that block would I call it a potential bullish takeover. If they fail to reclaim 29,263.00, the bears are still calling the shots. Structural invalidation for the bulls right now is a breakdown below 29,221.75. If that goes, the hopes of a reversal probably go with it.
So most of you probably know what I'm watching here. So we have a pull. That's why I've been trying to watch for the possible fake, right? We have the low that was reclaimed. We also have a V. That V is a good reversal structural pattern. That should push it pretty good. So could have a little bit of a pull, push, pull. But as long as this can create a higher high than that, it's really going to be good in play. If it starts to reject, as long as it stays above the 50, which it lines up almost perfect with that, it's so wild how much that works, then it's still in play as well. So let's watch and see. So right now we have a push into the prior fib, but this is a pretty strong show of force from the bulls where it shouldn't have been. So I want to see where this rejection goes, right? Because anything that holds above there. So we tap, bounce, close, that would be validation. If we close below that, that would be invalidation. And so as of right now, we had the pull and the tap. Close above, bam, validation. So 305 is his bearish order block that he was calling. And there's the push. Anybody playing that from the V? Let's see if it keeps going. I mean, that's so far is doing what it should have did, right? Low, V, good hold, good push. Isn't it cool how that plays out, guys? Now let's see if the bears decide to put him back in check here. But this would be our kind of key line. We swept it and we lost it. That's the bears kind of showing up. Now we shouldn't lose there if it's gonna continue hard. Let's see. So we got a good pull, and we're starting to get a little trap block here. Possible inverse head and shoulder as well. Let's see if it wants to respect it. Let's see here. This price area is definitely a battle zone. The bulls are trying to show up, but the bears are also smacking them down still a little bit. Let's get his thoughts on this. So possible inverse head and shoulder, guys, which would support my thesis. We had a trap and block
Order
south.
area is basically the MNQ version of a mosh pit. Everyone is throwing hands and nobody is really winning. The bulls are currently holding onto that 15 minutes bullish order block range of 29,227.00 to 29,259.25 for dear life.
See that?
A clean long only happens if they can finally kick the bears out and reclaim 29,259.25 with a hold. If price gets shoved below 29,227.00, the bears win the pit fight, and I would look for lower ground toward the gamma support near 29,190.28. It's chop central right now, so don't be the liquidity for someone else's exit.
Okay, so 259 seems to be his line in the sand of the bears reclaim, so he doesn't want us to reclaim and hold that, or they're going to take over and drive it down. So, but as of right now, it's doing what it's supposed to do. And you can see clearly we are in a chop area because we got trap going down, trap going up. We got the inverse head and shoulder playing out on a reclaim of the lows with a reclaim of the fib. It should extend to this part of the fib. My aggressive Neo is out there executing trades like a crazy person. So let's see how it respects that 300. So structure-wise, guys, like I said, when I see this, failed pull, it creates that lower low. It does one more hoorah. This hoorah has got to break through. If it does, usually it can, but if it does, it'll go really far. But if it can't break through that high, which will be here, then you'll get a deep, deep, deeper rejection. So, but let's see if it can break it through. But a lot of times structure-wise, it definitely tries. So there's your 300 tap. Let's see how it respects.
Order closed.
When I was talking about the 300 tap, just kind of be careful, is when it comes in here, it's normal for us to get a pull back to like 275, right? But if we pull here and jump again, or if we don't pull to there and we jumping into close above, your 300 entry is going to be a little tough. So now when you look at this structure-wise, guys, like this, you have the push, failed extension, creates the lower low. It's normal. Stay below the 50, creates another lower low. Normal. Came through, reclaimed it, not normal for a short. Held a higher low, 50% hold, that's not normal for a short. Got the close above, gets expansion, right? This little lower low reclaim has got to create a higher high now. If it doesn't create that higher high, and for some crazy ass reason, we drop below here, like that 258, 260, then it's going to drop really far. But as long as we stay above there, it has the potential to shoot pretty hard. Remember the predictive, if it stays above that, your predictive is going to be somewhere in here, likely. Yeah, so probably around 389, 388. If it can stay above that 50, which would be there. So we can pull all the way back to 260 and still be bullish, but the predictive is, usually around 380. So it's also going to matter on the fib, right? So the fib is the 330 area. If we can break through the 618, then that is going to take it to 370, which would validate that anyways. But it is respecting right now currently that prior low. So I just want to see how this pulls, how deep it goes. So I'm going to fib it out. So if I take the lower here, that's a 382 tap. Now let's see how the 0.5. So again, remember that pull to the 0.5 is normal. If we reject here and close below the 0.5, 618 can still hold it, which would also be an inverse head and shoulder neckline tap and go. If we lose that 618, we're losing that, and the whole inverse head and shoulder is now invalidated, and that will drop us really far. So remember, Neo doesn't want you taking a long. I think he moved it to 328 or something at one point. I think that's why I moved the line. Yeah. Oh, he said that's the top of the bearish order block we'd have to clear. That's what he had said. So as of now, we just pulled back to a perfect 50. So if the bulls kick in, the failure, see how they're kicking in, is likely dead. And it's going to get some expansion. We also are perfect neckline test on the inverse head and shoulder. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I would suspect that they're going to try to push it back up into these levels here. But That's kind of what I've been watching. We're also kind of, it's ugly, but we channeled and we're trying to break that channel. You can see the channel right there. We got pretty low. If you think about it, again, going back to a little higher time frame, this was our low, 201. We hit 220. As of now, we're still higher low. If you think about it, the channel broke, which is what is giving us this pull. For us to push back up to, if you take the higher time frame pivot from that high to that low, right, which is pretty much the fib we did, that 0.5 is a normal hit, which would be 370, right? And that's what I was talking about. That would be a normal channel break, retest, and then from there we could dump hard or reclaim it and jump really hard. So we'll have to see how it continues to respect. Oop, I think I just moved it too. Damn it. I thought I locked that one. Nope. Oh, I did not. Let's re-look at it. It's not far off. So there, probably there. Let's lock it. See the bullishness here. So what I want to see structurally, right? We have inverse head and shoulder neckline hold. That's that 50% that I was talking about, which you can see is right there. And it's respecting the hell out of it. If it closes below that, it'll be deep. If it closes above that, it'll validate the pattern structure and it'll go deep. So I'm still my long. I've just been mostly laddering defensively. But I'm going to watch and see if we get this expansion. Where I would take my profit and get out of it would be somewhere up in these highs. Other than that, you know, I teach pyramiding, you know, defensive plays where you kind of add as it pulls and keep jumping. So not bad. I'm only doing the one account on this one that I have, and I'm at like 5,100. So not a bad little Friday if I can finish the goal that I want here.
What did you put so long?
So keep in mind, Duff, and I know you know this, remember I mentioned I'm playing defensively. What that means, as you know, is I've been doing that since pretty much like here. So as it pulled, I can't remember where I actually entered it, but as it's pulling, jumping, pulling, jumping, pulling, jumping, I'm adding, taking profit, adding, taking profit. So I'm kind of pyramiding. I'm not doing I'm long, here it goes, right? And I do that, that's what I teach, and I think, pretty sure you've been a part of when I've showed that, where I'm doing it in the directional area of where I think ultimately will go. And I could be wrong, but the beauty is if I have a TP up here, I'm up enough now that I don't care. We can come all the way down into here and I'll still be fine, you know, as far as I mean, I'm giving up profit, right? But you can't trade scared, right? You got to go with your instincts of stuff. But that's why I don't like to just take a trade all the time, especially on Fridays when just leave it. I want to be proactive, right? So that way if I need to kill it, I'm still green, but if I'm right, I'm gonna be really green. It's gonna be a really good day. So what I'm watching now, guys, you can see we have a little minor bull pennant trying to form. So this is gonna be a big one to watch because you guys know that would be something like this, which is what it would need to break through that. So I want to see now if it gets respected or collapses. But 305 was what Neo was saying is the bearish order block. And so if we can't reclaim above that, then he said that it's likely going to try to pull. But so 328 was the top of that bearish order block, which is funny because it's actually the top of the fib. So the long itself is not going to really jump unless we get it up into this area. We got to get above 328. Just a fact. Otherwise, we're going to keep bullish pull, bullish pull. So now let's measure because we've extended a bit. This would be our overall pivot. Low would be the 66 there. So it's got to hold this fib level on that. I already kind of broke out the pennant thesis and validated. Now it could be early bull flag if we get a decent jump here. See how you have a good parallel? If you can get a jump, it's another good parallel. Could be pretty early. Oh, bears are kicking in. So what I'm watching now, and again, I'm always going to be predictive. That's just what you should always do. As I'm looking to see, is there going to be any respect of something like that? There's a little jump I was waiting on. It's a big battle, guys, because it's bouncing where it should. Now we have dojis. Close above there would validate my thought of that. But we're also double top, right? Double top. So if we stay below the neckline, close below that, then it's validating that. So let's watch and see. When we grab this to here, remember that 50, look, it's right where we're tapping. That's why we're getting a little bounces. So now it's a fight between, are we going to hold the 50 and jump and be a bull flag, or we're going to lose the 50 and drop and be a double top. So now you just want to watch how it behaves, right? And so we are getting jumps right where we need to, but we're also getting jumps where we're supposed to, right? So how it respects this low really matters. Pretty good show of bull strength followed by really good show of bear strength. So this is an identified trap and block area, showing that the bulls are going to try to defend this area though. So the short play would be if you invalidate this, because then you invalidate the inverse head and shoulders, the trap and block, any bullish thesis out there would be invalidated if we can get the close below there. And we're going to come back. So right now you're kind of in a battle between structures, I think. Yeah. Just in a battle of structures right now, guys. See the little dom jumps though? I mean, the bears are smacking them down. Can't deny that, but we're still getting some crazy little jumps at times. Shows you the buyers aren't gone, but look how strong the bears are though. You push it. So now here's another thing, if you haven't learned it, is this does not mean bearish. It means, is it a stop or is it inducement, right? Because they can induce it to wipe orders, rear back, and then now they have a free range to push it through the orders, right? The only way you determine is when you get these absorptions is if a close below means that it is bears kicking in, taking over, and they're in control. A close above means that they are inducing it to push it back up. And so we're just kind of in a wait and see on this area here, because it's in a very critical moment where it could collapse and be very, very, very bearish, pull to here, or it could absolutely floor, kind of where I'm leaning, and then jump high to the moon. But let's see if we invalidate. An invalidation of that double top is already kind of happening. See that? And so this is where, we'll see what it still has to clear, right? But this is where the retail thinking, right? You get caught too much in double top. And then you see this and you enter the short and now you're about to get wrecked. And so one thing I teach deeply is if you are one that loves patterns, I'm going to blow your mind a little bit. The perfect double top can flip into the perfect bull flag within just a few candles. And so you do not want to be married to a specific pattern. Now that we know the double top, in my opinion, has already invalidated. If we drop, it's not because of that. Now I want to see, is the bull flag, which is more potential right now, going to validate? So what validates a bull flag? A push into, a pullback, and a hold of the 50. So we're going to oscillate until we get a 50% hold with a push and a close above. If we do, it's going to create expansion. The close above that wick, which would be 300, like 299, we'd want that push here. Then it has to, once it gets that close out of channel, it's got to create expansion, guys. Otherwise, it's a failed bull flag. This is where people get caught trading patterns, because you take it right here and you go long. Well, if the bull flag pushes and fails to expand, it's going to have a deep ass inverse. And so it has to expand. It's a continuation type pattern structure. So let's see. Now I want to watch the behaviors. Find it interesting that we have a bear trap here down, but we have a bear trap here, or bull trap here up. Gives us a little pocket range. Find it a little more interesting in the flag that we are getting absorption into a level of resistance, right? At least a couple times. So we're still not clear of the break, right? But I want to see how this behaves from within the pattern is what I'm watching. And so another absorption here is likely going to cause a pretty good push, but let's see if we get the full absorption or if it pulls here. Remember, according to Neo, anything below 305, though, the bears are in control. So I am just analyzing what it's doing. So pull here, normal, back into the block. Again, if you take the higher time frame pivot, which would be that high and low, that's our 50. So we could still respect this, and jump. But if we sweep deeply and we break that, it's going to be invalidating like everything. That would be potentially bullish. So it's kind of a make or break for the bulls right here, in my opinion. Because they're either going to validate. Now we've had this pattern invalidate. If this one invalidates, man, it's a mess. And that's when you usually, people always say, like, how many trades do you take a day? I'm like, 1 or 300. Just depends. What depends is how is it acting. If I'm invalidating bearish things and not bullish things, then I'm taking longs. If I start invalidating bearish things and I'm invalidating bullish things, I'm out. Right? Because that means there's manipulation going on, and I'm not going to play that game with these guys. So let's see if we get the full push. Because all we are now is pull testing the 50. If it reclaims it, then our flag thesis is still intact, which is there, which will push up. Because it should lean to have more strength on the buy side than the sell side, if it's going to play out. But did you see that Dom drop right there? Whew. Let's see if the buyers absorb it. But man, it went boom, 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 like instant. Yep, buyers absorbed it. Oh shit, I gotta trail my stuff. Hold on. I'm gonna trail that. That is a big show of force, guys. So this might be it. I'm gonna trail this sucker, and I'm trailing it and trailing it. I can't even move my chart right now, guys. Hold on, because this thing, I'm trailing on the DOM, so I can't even keep up with the price. Shit, where's it going? See that? How that played, though? This has got to create expansion. Remember, my target originally was that 328, and then 370 was the full extension of the measured target. So we're bull flag activated, but it's got to create extension. It can drop, but it's, in theory, if this is our critical area, we want to take here and we want to take here. It's got to get at least expansion to 320 before it gets any kind of deep pullback, because it shouldn't go back into channel, right? Like that. That's the 50 of the pivot. So, but it shouldn't go back into channel if it's gonna do that. Otherwise, it's a failed play. Pretty cool though, huh? Isn't that how we can identify that structural play? Anybody catch that jump? That was a really good one on my run that I did. As it came down, I got trailed out of it somewhere, like when it pushed, it trailed out of it somewhere here. And so when it popped down, I took a little chance of adding it on the first drop here. And I love anybody that trails with the DOM, man. I love when you're like, all right, I'm gonna trail this. Shit, where'd the ticker go? I was busy just dragging it up, like, where is it, guys? This thing can just keep going. And so it's got all the behaviors that it needs to give expansion to at least here. But remember, my full predictive that I teach, or I'm beginning to teach in the mentor group on how to do it, has it somewhere up here. I forgot what it was. It was like 70 or 80. So, but in order to get truly up to that one, the first predictive was around here, that 328. The second one, the deeper one, is up in there, the 380. So that's what I'm kind of leaving my last rung for, is I'm going to take profit as we get up near that 0.5. I'm not going to play with the 0.5. Which that is 71. Because if I get up to that, like, I'm good.
You think a good entry would be past that 305 level?
I think a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people I think are already in, but if you're not in, yes, you don't want to chase it here, because now you're running the risk of it created the high like it's supposed to. But remember, bull flags have to create deep expansion because it's continuation, right? It cannot just barely tap. So if you tap, it should never lose kind of that high that it broke from that flag. And so to show strength, right? And so entering here is risky because you could be right, because if it plays out as it should, you'd be good. But if it invalidates, you might be caught in an invalidation. I don't think it's going to invalidate, but we'll see. This is a bearish order block, Neo called. So above 28, if you want to enter after, I would want to see a push, a pull, hold, close, and then you can take it like that, right? That'll be how you play it. But for those on TikTok, those that yeah, I'm in a trade. I'm in a long on it. I'm up about 64 now. But when what I want to mostly show, guys, those of you who don't really follow me, isn't it cool how you can identify a failed, like, I don't really trust that, because we're inverse head and shoulder into a double top, right? The reason why I lean more towards this one at the time is because, and I didn't trust this, of two things. One, we lost a low that should have dropped us to here, and it didn't. We reclaimed it with a V, which you guys know how much lately I've been showing you all the secret sauce of the V's. When you pull that down, we tapped perfectly on the 50. Remember, when you do that, forget calling it an inverse head and shoulder. When you get the V, the push, the pull, you hold the 50 doji, close above, that is your bullish push, right? Since then, we've stayed higher low. Oh, we did get an extension a little bit to the 320, but looks like we're pulling a little. Again, pulling in the market is normal, as long as it doesn't pull deeper than that. And it can sweep it and be just a retest on the channel, but if it's going to show true strength, it should never break that 290. So all we are now is push rear back. I believe that was close to the first. Wasn't it like... I didn't quite get to it, but remember I was telling you guys somewhere around there, I think is where it was, 324 for predictive, and we got pretty close, 321. But I don't think it's done, but we'll see where it goes here. Bulls are taking over. If we clear that 328, what would be the target? I know a bunch of people are in longs. They took an early scalp as well as I did. I'm still in a long. I'm up pretty good, and we entered in back around that kind of 260 area. So we're in really good profit trailing. So don't worry about that. But we're just trying to see where would we want to clear before this thing, like the bulls, really take over. So again, you can use him many ways, guys. Like I can ask him, hey, I'm in this trade, like, what price do I need to clear before this thing just moonshots, right?
Long. You're currently fighting through a bearish order block.
Yeah.
29305, 29328, and that institutional pivot at 29,321. So don't be surprised if the move stalls right here while the market tries to decide if it's actually bullish or just teasing you. To really see the bulls take over, you need a clean close and hold above 29,328. If you get that, 29,360 is your first target, then 29,429 if the momentum holds. If it slips back below 29,305, the bulls are losing the immediate battle, so I wouldn't let your profit turn into a donation.
Dang, 429. There you go, Duff, for you on that. But yeah, so that's what you want to see. He called the pretty far one there. So he is saying, for those not in a trade, a push and hold above 328 would give you a first target of 360. He didn't even give me the 389, so I'm gonna delete that now. He moved it, the institutional wall. So if we get above the 360, then 429 would be the next target. We are kind of doing that little curl. Oh, actually, look, yeah. So I think somebody said it in TikTok as well, so I missed it, but I was looking at something else. But yeah, we had the little minute inverse head and shoulder, and if you zoom out, we just didn't zoom out yet. You can see it's kind of forming the shoulder, head, shoulder. So if you take that as a higher play, forget the little micro one, right? If you take the high of that pivot to the low of that one, that's the, kind of the shoulder 50 that it had to hold, which is right there, which is really close to where we did. We swept it a little bit, but what I'm mostly looking at now, again, is if this is going to be our inverse head and shoulder, we want to take, again, predictive, that low of the shoulder, pull it up to roughly where that neckline would likely be, which would be somewhere in here. And then that would, yeah, I'll give it predictive about 356, just from the first move of it, if we can break the 328. So I'm on board with it. Neo, on board with it. But the only thing I'm watching that I'm a little about is we have the bull flag push and we're getting failed extension. See that? It's not out of the woods. It's not failed extension unless we lose the 50, which is there, and we keep holding it. So it's just a battle for now. Now the 328 to the 305 is a bearish order block that Neo's watching, which is kind of why he doesn't want you taking longs here. So I'm in mine, but also I'm up a lot from, doing multiple trades from within. So I can play with a little wiggle room. The beauty of a bearish order block is at some point they always break, right? And so if there's enough structural patterns to suggest that it will break through it, that break is usually pretty violent. So I gotta watch it. I'm gonna have to set a what would 360? Yeah, 410 would be the 382. He's got 429. I'm thinking I'm definitely not gonna have my target profit, my final one, above the 382. No chance on that one. 410 be 382, yeah. Guys, it's almost 11. So sometimes on Fridays, we don't do the afternoon session. We been talking about a lot in the mentor group. I'm spending a lot of time on Neo, because Neo's auto trading is what we are working on now. And he's doing really well, but he's doing well from what I'm wanting, meaning I have him on the most aggressive setting possible, meaning this dude is out here trading like some of you guys, right? Order filled, order filled, order filled. And so he's going to take wins, he's going to take losses. I'm not really measuring his success on how much profit he's making. See this failed expansion? I want to see, man, this could get interesting if we stay below that fib and we actually fail this thing. Right, we're testing right now on the 50 again. It's got to jump. I mean, it could come here and still be a breakout retest, but then the only other thing I'm going to pivot that discussion here would be we could pull the fib out to see. So the 618 would be like the line in the sand low. If it loses that, it's going to be ugly. Well, we'll see. But the most important thing to me, guys, when I'm building Neo to trade for people, it's not getting them profitable is not the harder part. I know that may sound weird, but to teach it or him, however you want to refer to him, to make decisions, to tell me what he's thinking, to have risk management, to that's the power of AI. That's the power of building a bot or automation is can he make decisions real time based on market conditions and then explain that decision, and does that decision make sense, right? That's what I'm gauging right now. And so see the perfect 50 hold. Look at the trap block. We have one here that played out, but then it's like trap, 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 trap. I mean, look, if this isn't an indicator screaming at you that we're about to jump, right? Who was it? John or somebody, we were talking about it. We're like, look, I don't claim to be a genius, but this trap thing is really good. Paul made it mostly. But when I say I don't claim to be a genius, when this thing populates 17 trap blocks, I'm going long. Just a little exaggeration, but that thing is so good. We're also getting a V also. See that? Pull V. We got a higher high. As long as that V stays above that 50, it's going to get the deep expansion. Right there. Bam. This might be it, guys. So let me watch this for a second, and then I'll continue on, but I'm going to watch it too. Oh, but I think you guys would agree, right? Like, if I were to tell you Neo's trading and he's profitable, you're excited. But your first thought or question is, how much risk is he giving? How much, how many times is he taking losses? Look at this dude trading like freaking Bobby. Only threw in a long though. Threw in a long. This guy. Just kidding. Just kidding, Bobby. We're going to pivot over to Cody. He's trading like Cody. No. So we have the expansion, the V, the expansion. Anything that holds above here is going to try to push again. With this V, remember, anything that loses this right about 305 to 308, if we lose it with any violence, then it's an invalidation, and it's going to drop pretty hard. So right now we rejected route 328 and the fib, which is where we should have rejected. But I want to know, can he manage risk? That's what I really want to know. Because making an AI, I mean, shit, we've made, even just trade foundations to where it's winning pretty often, more times than not, right? To make something that wins is not the problem. It's to make something that can understand market conditions, evolve with it, change with it, understand news, manage risk within it. That's what PineScript and TradingView can never do. Never. It's not impossible. Anybody that says they can, they're full of shit. From somebody who makes stuff in PineScript. And so that's where Neo is powerful. And so I'll tell you, I was sharing things last night with people where he was making decisions. So like for right now, this decision he chose to open a long, he said bullish structure is active with strong buy pressure, long continue confirmation requires a sustain and hold above the bearish block boundary at the 328. So he's letting you know his thoughts. So when we create his dashboard for you guys to watch it, or for the mentor VIP to be able to follow it, it's important not only as a trading bot for it to execute trades for you. I want him to tell you why he took the long, why he closed out, why. And he did some of the coolest shit yesterday, guys. When we didn't go live last night because we were heavily testing him in Asia in the mentor group, and he did some awesome stuff because he had one trade that, let's just use it as an example. He said, I'm long, like we'll just say there, whatever. He had a stop loss. Then it pushed, but then it pulled, and then it pushed, and then it pulled, and then it pushed, and then it pulled, and then it said order closed, and I'm like, oh, he closed it, shit. So I look over, and he said, I adjusted the stop loss to just at break even due to the weakness displaying in the push that validated why I got in the long. So I made a decision to protect that trade. And it hit that, gave him a break even stop, and then it dropped. And so it was just a flawless protection. And that's what I'm watching when we're studying, is can he make a decision to do something that most of you guys can't. I'm just going to call you out. which is if I take a long due to whatever rules and those rules begin to invalidate, you need to get out of that long or vice versa. And a lot of us are really bad at that. Like we'll say, oh yeah, man, close and hold above 328. We're going to the moon. Like, all right, I'm long, got it, got my close, sweet. And then we get a close below 328 and we go, ooh, well, I don't want to really close it. You know what? If we get a pull here, then I'll close it. And then it's if we get a pull here, then I'll close it. You know what? If we get a pull here, and then your account breaks, right? Let's be honest. Whereas Neo is gonna see so many things at once and go, shit ain't lining up. I'm out, right? And he'll dip on it. And so I think he closed his long. Let me see why he closed it. Yeah, he said he trailed it a little tight and based on structural thesis and closed it due to trail hit. Again, unemotional. So whether it keeps going or not is irrelevant, right? And so
Order filled.
back in he goes. And so now he went in. Let's see. It said, and again, mind you guys, he's on the most aggressive mode. I mean, I almost have him more aggressive than he will even be for you guys as aggressive because it's the only way I truly can test him is if this dude's out here trading freaking like a nut, right? But his reasoning is price confirmed bullish expansion above the institutional pivot, though institutional sell flow conflicts, it necessitates tight structure and validation. So he's got a stop loss at 320 and a target at 429 in it. So we'll see if he goes. I mean, it's really not terrible. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome, guys. This project. It's gonna be awesome, man. Once I'm done, once I get it the way I want, which you guys know I'm stubborn, I will. But AI, man, that's gonna be the key to the kingdom, guys. Because once we get him actively trading, you know, it's gonna change lives. Absolutely, Brittany. Guys, I do have 11. I don't mind sticking around a little longer. You know, those in TikTok, if you guys have any questions, I mean, hope you did well. Kind of played out as I was thinking for the most part. It did. I'm not gonna ever hindsight you guys. I hate when people do that. I did not think we would get this last leg here. I was fully expecting a pull, a little bit of a wedge, hold somewhere here, and a drop. And so that wedge kind of broke down. We got a pull. Then I was honestly thinking we might get this inverse head and shoulder, which then would reclaim up to there, and it collapsed and broke down. So not exactly how I wanted it. We don't have crystal balls. But more so, the important part is the lesson here, I guess. Shit, I have to watch this. Hold on, let me look at something real fast. I'm at like 73. I don't want to hit 10K on this account. I'll be pissed because that'll push me to an auto live on it. I don't want to. Thinking. Hold on, guys. So the 0.5 is 70. Okay. Yeah, math-wise, we should be good. I just want to make sure my take profit is below that, so that way it'll get me out. So I'll explain why later, another day. But when you're here watching me on the lives, if you stick around, and yeah, he's still in this long. He's actually killing it. What I like to do is I like to openly teach what I'm thinking, right? And so when you are getting the polls, I still want to build conditions of what is a behavior to continue the poll. Then I want to build conditions of what is a behavior that shows that it's weakening. And so you can see we had an extension that did not hit a level that it should have. That's almost a 382 hit that bounced really early into a bullish pattern that held our 50 into a bearish pattern that invalidated, validating the bull flag that we saw early. And that's another lesson of importance, that you don't want to get married to a pattern, guys. You get married to a pattern, you're going to get wrecked. You got to be heavily, what I teach a lot, especially deeply in the mentoring side, is what is the market doing what it should be doing? That's how you should always look at it. If it's going to be bearish, it's got to do certain things. If it's going to be bullish, it's going to be doing certain things. I will tell you guys this, and some of you may disagree, and that's okay. But notice through the entire time, although it didn't go exactly how I planned on the drop, the reversal up was called pretty well. And I do pretty well calling bottoms and tops, because that's mostly what I am. I like the bottom and top style trading. But I'm not out here saying, this is a ICT, ICC, AMD, CRT. I'm not trying to figure out what model this is. Those are all, what people seem to forget is all of those strategies are just somebody figured out that if the candles do this and this, it does this. That's literally all it is. And so some of you guys probably have noticed that the more you learn, the worse you got. And it's normal because while you're spending 30 minutes trying to figure out what model this falls under, good job, Savvy, most of us are already in it, or we already see it, right? Because forget trying to tie to the next greatest winning strategy, and just understand structure, understand order flow, understand how it's supposed to behave. Once you understand how the market's supposed to behave, then you can understand when it's not behaving correctly and play the counter. It'll save you. And you can see we're getting the continued push. So what's really cool, I'm just looking at this. I can't remember where I did it, so I'm not going to pretend that I do. But remember I said, what did I say? What did I say on that one? I don't remember where I did it. I think it was it was the low of the shoulder to what I thought the neckline was. And look at it. Yeah, it was about there, right? Keep me honest. We said the low to the shoulder, predictive. That's some cool shit, huh, Johnny? I keep referring to you because I know that you love this stuff too. Isn't that cool? Predictives. So that's what I've been studying, being able to predict that, guys, and I'm gonna, yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's awesome. I love it. Welcome to my channel where my crazy mind gets crazy. So when you look at this, guys, we have the contraction, which suggests a bigger pull. I think we'll get to here. That's where my final TP is. That's why I was looking. Anything past that, I don't want. I know it sounds crazy. You're like, what do you mean? You don't want more profit?
It's kind of funny with the sessions, Neo. It's kind of like a backhanded, call out here where, his long is saying wait till 405, but his short entry is saying a rejection of 29,375. So I'm sitting here watching to see, from the short setup, if it actually makes it up to 375 to reject.
Yeah, so if you take here to the early pivot, we can pull back to 340 and still be fine. I mean, we can pull all the way back to here. So think about it from a fib level too, right? We have the higher structure fib in here, and we're measuring retracement. We lost the 736, reclaimed it, reclaimed the 618 that rejected to drop us. That's more bullish than bearish. Now we're testing the 50. That is the moment of truth for the most part, because in the deeper structure, which is this gray line, when you get this push back, we broke the 50 from, because remember this structural play was more this one, the up, right? And so we broke that 50 down. So if we reclaim it, it's gonna really go. Like we'll probably even reclaim the whole upper area. But anything that rejects on the 50, if it loses the 618, it's gonna have a little bit of a steamroll down. I'd be surprised if it does that, but it's not impossible. Now we could adjust this fib, because this fib was based on structure down up. It's this, we were gauging the retracement of that. And so that's why we have it how we have it. And so we got a deep retracement. Now we have to look at the other way, which adds another layer. We take the push here into here. Anything that holds above 236 is strength, right? So we could get all the way down to 334 and still jump. If you take the other way and you adjusted that one to this low, we've now reclaimed the 382, and that 0.5 would be 377, which lines up pretty close with what Neo Sessions is talking about. Pretty close. Ooh, I gotta stand up, guys. I'll tell you, man, all the sitting and working on Neo, I'm killing my back. Neo's still in the long too. It's kind of funny. He's holding that thing. Let me see. He's trailing it. 340. He's gonna close it here soon. Yeah, he's got a trail. I think it's gonna hit here in a minute. We'll see if it. No, it pumped out of it. He might not close it. It pumped out of the trail. His trail was at 345. What did we get to? So 343. But remember, his trail is not necessarily a wick. It's not like your brokerage type trail that y'all are used to. He's gonna trail it based on, do we get the close? Is the structure invalidating? Is the data shifting? Right, then he'll make that decision to close it. Otherwise, he's got freaking patience, man. He let one go for just. I was looking at it like, maybe he's broken. He should probably close this, and he didn't, and it kept going. I was like, oh, that works. The purple dots. That
Hey, can you remind me again? What did Neil say about that 360 level?
That's your first target, and if we clear it, then it's going to 428, which is probably
Would that
true.
be about before like a re-entry or something like that? If that's the case.
Hold that thought. The trade foundation's called the great one too, so nice little pull. I don't know if you guys are trading that one, those that have that in the mentor group. What I was gonna look at is I was trying to figure out what you were talking about. Benny, are you talking, Benny, which one are you talking about? The foundations one, or I don't know. Purple dot. I'm lost.
I added the precision entry indicator on my chart.
Precision
and I've
entry.
been watching it while we've been looking at the chart, and I saw, at first I was like, oh, maybe that's like indicating a buy or a sell, but then I saw a sell indicator, and I was like, well, it can't be indicating a buy or sell, but it follows it, and I'm not sure what it means.
I don't know. I've seen a purple dot. That's why I'm kind of lost on it. So when you're doing precision entry, just so you know, since you're on that, being in the mentor group, I want to pause and make sure you understand it. So keep in mind, I hate that we say sell and buy. I never really wanted to make a buy sell signal. I know it sounds weird. So but the intent of this one, when we originally built it, and I think it's in the how it works, I have to look, is don't take them as entries as they are. What you want to do is you want to take it as a potential bias. So what that means is, let me go to a 3 layer here. When I first made it, I had with Paul, we had we were doing like a 3 layer trading like this. I'm gonna show you. And we created this mostly to help with bias. Okay, so you have, this was in a buy, but then it threw the sell. So the 5 minutes in a sell. The 1 minute is in a sell. Back then, right, the 15 seconds in a sell. When you have all time frames lining up as a sell, you probably shouldn't take a long, right? Oh, dojis, that's right. I have mine off. That's why. Okay, good. Yeah, appreciate it, Andrew, on that. I'll cover that. But how you want to trade it, back on that, if your 1 minute is sell, your 15 second is sell, and your 5 minute flip sell, you probably shouldn't take a long. Now, how it helps you predictively is when you're in a sell here, we obviously don't have a buy on the 5 yet. We don't even have a buy on the 1 minute yet. But you guys know I teach the 5 minute, what happens on the 15 second will happen before the 1 minute. Then on the 1 minute, it will happen on the 5 minute. So when do I want to stop shorting my 5 or my 1? probably when my 15 seconds starts throwing buys, right? And so it's more of a bias predictor that I like to teach when I did it in the mentoring side. And so the moment this starts throwing buys, I'm out. No more shorts on this, right? Because I know that it usually will go, short, 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 and then this one will flip buy, 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 right? Like that. Now, it doesn't mean you would jump into a buy just trading this, but what it means is you probably should stop shorting because until this validates back with shorts, because then you want all time frame alignment from within. That's how you keep this safe on the bias. Does that make sense, Benny? Or help clear it up a little bit on how the better way to use it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of, because I'm looking at, like, so I can see that you have, like, the little sell indicators on the, I think it was the 15-second. Well, I'm looking at mine. Of course, I only have one because I'm on the 1 minute, but you see, like, the, on the 1 minute chart, you see, like, the red dot.
So I'm gonna pause you one
I have
second.
like a whole bunch of those purple things.
Yeah,
instead of the red ones.
so open your settings. It's because you have a show candidate doji label, like that is what it is. I turned that off. See all the purple ones?
Okay.
So what that's doing is this indicator loves to identify potential dojis, and it was a theory that we did back in the day where I wanted to teach people how to identify a doji, and if you close above it, we go up, you close below it, you go down, right? And so I don't necessarily need that on my chart, so I take it off. The other thing you might not have is I have enable aggressive signals, and so when you see buy AGG, that's because I have that one on. Is what that is.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, it's awesome. I turn it off on mine because I use other stuff now, but for those who struggle with bias, it's really good because again, when this flips long, you don't really want to take these shorts. Could it play out? Sure. But I want to begin to see time frame alignment. So I want to see this throw a short. Then I'm cool with it. Then it's, now I got time frame alignment from within, right? But if this keeps throwing buys and this throws a buy, I might jump into that, even if this isn't throwing a buy. And then just using things that I teach, kind of that high-low, you can see our 50 of that pivot is around 78. So we could reject hard at 78, but if we do break 78, it's going to pump pretty hard. So, but yeah, that's how that goes. And you know what? You just gave me a good thought on that, Benny. We'll do a we'll just kind of continue through here for a little bit longer, guys, instead of doing our afternoon session, since Fridays, we're usually more casual. But what I'll do is next week, maybe Monday in the afternoon session, I'll do a kind of a full
Order filled.
He took profit on his long earlier and back in. I'll do a full afternoon session of kind of going through all the indicators, on the deeper level that I teach on the mentoring side, because so many new people coming in. I teach a lot on the strategy, but I haven't gone deep into the indicators to understand them a little bit deeper the way that I like to. But yeah, we'll do that. That reminded me. So we're getting the pull. It's kind of a expected potential pull. So remember, this level here is that 50. That's all we're rejecting on. Also, Neo said the 60 was kind of our first target if we broke above that 305 or 328, right? And so he hit his target, so he got it. I'm not going to pivot much off of what we're doing right now because we're mostly done. So I'm not going to be able to look at that Ondo one there for you. The good news is I will tell you though, what I'm teaching and showing will teach you how to read the chart on your own to do that. So, but right now, you guys think about it structure wise, it's just a normal retracement of what it should do, right? So we can pull all the way to 328, and how it reacts there matters. If we tap jump, it's gonna move, and we're gonna go up here. If we lose that, then now we're starting to invalidate the entire thesis that was going to push us up into these levels. So now the 429 is what he said, Duff, where he wants a break of the 460 and a hold, right? Like that. And so we got the break, we did not get the hold, right? So the hold, what does that look like? The hold would be break, hold, push, confirm, right? We need to close above the highs of those wicks of that level hold. Now, I will tell you, we're looking like we were forming another potential bull flag, so we'll see. So, love that angle right there. So, if you exclude the wick, it would look something like that. So, we might be going bull flag into bull flag. Now, this is what's funny. Some people might see potential bull flag. Some people might see, wait a minute, Nick, this is an inverse, or not inverse, a head and shoulders. Both are correct. What you don't know is that a head and shoulders that fails typically turns into likely a bull flag. A bull flag that fails is likely going to be head and shoulders, right? So depending how the market acts is what it actually is. So let's see how deep this goes. For this bull flag to be viable, I want to see buyer support because right here is that 50, remember? It's also the 618, push, pull, which is kind of cool too because if I didn't even think about that, but you take the low and line it up to the 618, that would put a high right about 73. Interesting. But see how it's bouncing like it's supposed to. So now's where you got to ask yourself, and I'm going to give you all a little extra free sauce here. If it's a head and shoulders, it should have broken the neckline, pulled, and it can push, but we should see sell pressure. We should see absorption south. If it's a bull flag, we want to see a tap, and we want to see buy pressure. So currently we're seeing buy pressure. We're not seeing the sell pressure. That's how you can differentiate the two. And so if you are in Neo's in a long. When you're looking at this, right, that's how you differentiate the two. So if I did take the bearish play from that, because you misread it, the moment it shifts up, like it's doing now, you have to kill your trade because it's not acting the way it should. Can it drop again? Of course it can. I mean, the market can do whatever it wants, but it's not behaving the way that you took the trade. It's just not. And that's what's so powerful about Neo is he's not closing things based on emotion, whether it's stop loss, whether it's entry, whether it's exit, profit. He is unemotional. You know, the market does what it should do, and he'll stay. And if it doesn't, then he won't. You know, and so I watched him kill a trade at $5 in profit, and then it went his way. I watched him kill a trade at yesterday. It was so cool. He flipped a trade. I was showing the mentor group. He was in a short and in a long, and it went backwards a little. He didn't even hesitate. He's like killing it, right? And so when I look at why he killed it, he said the structure is invalidating based on what I took this long for, leading me to believe there's probably further downside. And as I'm reading it, I hear order filled. I'm like, oh, he's in a short now. That's ballsy. And he took a $16 loss on a 1 MNQ trade from a long and made 100 and what was it, guys? Like $100, right? 100 something. And caught the short, towards the end. And so that's what's so powerful about AI as well, is that as traders, we don't like to be wrong. And look, tell me if I'm talking about you. You're over here thinking head and shoulders. Sounds good. All right, I'm in. Let's go. The book says we got a head and shoulders. We've got some absorption. Sellers are in. We're below a level I wanted. Book says, close below my neckline. I'm in. Let's go. And even though this starts to invalidate your thesis, we will come up with all the ways we can try to figure out as to why I'm going to stay in the trade. Well, I'm going to stay short because we're low or high. I'm going to stay short because we're below the 50. I'm going to stay short because... And you could be right, but your original thesis is invalid, right? So this is an interesting pull here, guys, because we had a push with kind of a potential bull flag, but it did not get any kind of expansion. We actually rejected to the dollar of Neo's 360 line that he's watching. The only thing I would say maybe is, I wonder if this, I don't like the angle of that either. Yeah. We'll watch and see if it develops anymore on that. But once your thesis is dead, right, you got to get out of it. And so with Neo, that's what he does really well, because he, and he's executing well. I'm happy with it because, like, even in this trade, he's a little bit red on it, but he's not panicking. It's not like, because there's no emotions. He doesn't care. If the structure that he's using is still in play, he'll leave it open for hours. He doesn't, that's the beauty of AI. So, but let's see the most important part, here, forget patterns. I'll leave you guys with, and then probably get going here soon. Is right now we know this structure is what pushed us. That was our predictive. For us to pull here is normal. Most important part is, do we hold support here? Because remember we did earlier the pivot low of, didn't click it. The pivot low of that to that high, it lines up perfectly with our level there, the 328. So anything above that is just a healthy pullback, guys. That could still pop. We lose 328, the whole thesis is toast if you're trying to ride that long. And that's probably when I'll kill mine too and just take my Friday profit. Any questions, guys? Otherwise, usually we are done by 11. I'm gonna